I stepped outside to the sound of my 3-year-old bawling like the sky had fallen, only to find her barefoot in our backyard, staring at the kiddie pool like it had been personally betrayed. The once vibrant blue inflatable paradise we'd spent all morning setting up was now bone dry, sagging on one side, looking like it had been throttled by a garden hose. And there she was, Linda, khaki cap, neon green flip-flops, and that smug, "I'm the neighborhood watchdog" expression she wore like a crown. She gripped the dripping hose like a warrior who'd just slain a dragon. "You're welcome," she said, her voice flat. "I saved your kid from wasting public resources." My daughter was sobbing, her grape popsicle melting into her hand. That was the moment I knew this wasn't headed for a friendly block party chat. No, this was war. Let me back up. Exactly 24 hours earlier it was Saturday, and the heat was brutal, the kind where the pavement laughs at your sandals, and your car's AC just spits hot soup. My daughter, Emma, begged for the water park, but since funds become a luxury tax, we decided to bring the splash zone home. I dragged out the inflatable kiddie pool, set it up in our modest backyard, and filled it with fresh water. Emma was over the moon, splashing with her rubber duckies, shrieking like she was on a theme park ride. I even popped up an umbrella, kicked back in a lawn chair, and cracked open a cold sparkling water. For the first time all week I felt calm. Then Linda showed up. No knock, no heads up, just stormed into the backyard like she owned the grass. "This isn't allowed," she said, eyeing the setup like a health inspector at a dive bar. I stared, baffled. "It's a kiddie pool, Linda. On my property." She sniffed, like she could smell a violation. "Standing water breeds mosquitoes, and this is excessive water use. We're under stage 1 drought restrictions." I blinked. "Linda, we can water lawns 3 days a week. This is less than a load of laundry." But she had that look, "I don't negotiate with peasants" look. "I'll be documenting this," she muttered, snapping photos with her phone like she was uncovering a crime scene. I thought that was the end of it. I genuinely believed even Linda wouldn't go full eco-crusader over a toddler's pool. I was so wrong. I had no clue this woman, this menace in leggings, had snuck into my yard at midnight, hose in hand, and drained it herself. My security camera later showed the whole absurd scene. Linda, headlamp on, skulking like a low-budget spy, jamming her hose into the pool and siphoning it dry while muttering, "People like this are why the planet's dying." Then with a smug little hum, she strolled off like she'd saved the world. Now, standing there with my crying daughter in the limp, pathetic pool, I felt a fury bubbling up, hot and sharp. Linda had crossed a line. This wasn't about water, Anna Marie, it was about control, about someone who thought she could parent my kid and police my home. And now Linda had my full attention. I scooped Emma up, promised we'd fix it, and brought her inside. I handed her a popsicle and put on her favorite cartoon, but her spark was gone. So was mine. I marched to my laptop, pulled up the backyard camera footage, and there it was, time-stamped, high def, peak Linda insanity. I saved the clip in 3 folders just in case. Then I sat there staring at the screen. I could report her, file an HOA complaint, make a stink. But that's what she'd expect. That's Linda's language, forms, rules, meetings. I didn't want bureaucracy. I wanted impact. I wanted petty revenge that hit like a brick and lingered like glitter. That night I made some calls. Friends, neighbors. Turns out, I wasn't the only one fed up. One guy said Linda reported his wind chimes for being emotionally disruptive. Another said she photographed their trash cans for improper alignment. This woman was waging war on joy, and now we were forming a rebellion. The plan came together fast. Jello. Bright red, ridiculous Jello. I crunched the numbers, show much we'd need, how long it'd take to set, what temperature was safe, who had extra stoves. It was absurd, over the top, perfect. And the best part? Linda had no idea what was coming. If she thought draining a kiddie pool would teach me a lesson, she was about to learn some people don't just fight back, they wiggle. The sun rose over our quiet cul-de-sac, but my kitchen was a war room. My counters were buried under boxes, hundreds of strawberry, cherry, and raspberry Jello packets. Emma, in her booster seat, watched with huge eyes as I dumped packets into a giant pot. "What's this, Daddy?" she asked, hopeful. "A magic pool," I said, and she giggled like I promised her a pony. My phone buzzed constantly, neighbors dropping off supplies, confirming shifts. The plan was insane, possibly illegal in a few states, but everyone was in. Linda hadn't just messed with us all. By noon, my backyard was part science lab, part tailgate. We had stoves inside, a grill outside, coolers of water, thermometers, measuring cups. We weren't just making Jello, we're crafting it like artisans. One neighbor, Mike, a retired mechanic who took hobbies too seriously, monitored cooling times like he was launching a rocket. Too hot, it'll melt the plastic, he grumbled, adjusting ice packs. Too cold, it won't set right. We need that perfect jiggle. I nodded like it was life or death. This wasn't just revenge, it was art. The kiddie pool, freshly inflated and scrubbed, sat center stage. As we poured in warm, sticky liquid, the air filled with artificial fruit sent sickly sweet, cartoonish absurd. We layered red on red until the pool glowed like a fever dream. A kid peeked over the fence and yelled, "Is that Jello?" Word was spreading. We worked all night, keeping the pool tarped, posting lookouts for raccoons or worse, Linda. By morning, the Jello had set into a glistening masterpiece. Emma dipped a toe in. "It's weird," she squealed, then cannonballed in, sending red blobs flying. She surfaced, cackling, a strawberry gremlin. My heart swelled. By 10 a.m., the backyard was a zoo. Kids scooped, squished, flung Jello at each other. Parents laughed. Someone blasted party tunes. A mom brought whipped cream, making fake sundaes on kids' heads. Mike, in a lawn chair, declared himself Jello lifeguard, blowing a kazoo with floaties on his arms. I sipped iced tea on the porch, soaking in the chaos. This wasn't just revenge, it was joy reborn. Then Linda. I heard her gasp first, sharp, dramatic, like she'd seen a crime. She stood by the fence, mouth open, clutching a notepad like it'd save her soul. Her cap was crooked like she'd sprinted over in a rage. "What is this?" she hissed. I strolled over. "Jello," I said. "You drained the pool, so we upgraded." She blinked, rattled by my shamelessness. "This is unsanitary," she snapped. "It's a food product. A biohazard." A kid lobbed a Jello glob like a snowball. It splat. Laughter erupted. Linda flinched like she'd been hit. "You're violating 3 HOA rules," she shrieked. "I'm calling an emergency meeting." I sipped my tea. "You'll have to wait. The HOA president's on vacation." She puffed up. "Then I'll call him." I smiled. "He left me in charge." Her jaw dropped. Silence. Then a scoff. "You're acting president?" I nodded. "Crazy, right? Want to file a complaint?" "I've got forms." Her hands shook. The notepad hit the dirt. She stormed off like an angry goose. The backyard exploded in applause, loud, joyous. A kid yelled, "Long live Jello." I swear someone tossed glitter. Later, I found a typed note in my mailbox. "Cease all unauthorized gelatin activities. This isn't a circus." And signed, but it screamed Linda. I framed it. By dusk, we hosed off the mess, packed up, and watched Emma crash on the couch, sticky and smiling. Linda thought she'd won with pettiness, but we fought back with joy. She'd remember what happens when you mess with the wrong kiddie pool. Linda didn't let up. By morning, 6 violation notices were taped to my door, flapping like flags of her wrath. One was for food-based recreation. Another for unsafe child behavior. One even cited unnatural colors. I laughed so hard I nearly fell over. Linda had gone full tyrant. She didn't stop at my neighbors got hit too. Mrs. Carter got flagged for hosting unregistered minors. Mike, the Jello lifeguard, was cited for improper attire. Someone got a warning for sugar contamination. The group chat blew up, confusion then fury. Linda had declared war on the street, and no one was backing down. I knew we couldn't just redo Jello. This was chess now. Linda craved power, so I fought back with order. I started a file, Linda's Reign of Terror. It grew fast, stories of her reporting fences, finding a rainbow flag, measuring lawns, scolding a teen's bike for being unaesthetic. One guy said she raged over his inflatable Santa. Another caught her timing his garage door. My favorite? She reported a toddler's chalk art as unauthorized public display. Linda didn't just love rules, she thought she was the rules. Then she went big. An emergency HO meeting. No notice, just notes taped to mailboxes. Community crisis. Mandatory. The crisis? People having fun. Everyone showed up, expecting her to ban laughter next. The clubhouse felt like a courtroom. Linda stood up front, blazer too tight, flanked by her minions Wendy, who hated tall plants, and Carl, a retired banker with a clipboard fetish. Linda launched in, "We've seen a surge in violations water misuse, food-based pools." Gasps sarcastic ones. She pitched Linda's law, only potable water in pools do law 500 fines, inspections for repeat offenders. She named it after herself. Bold. But she miscalculated. People were done. Hands shot up. Someone demanded her flowerbed permits. Another cited her own rule-breaking emails. Then a quiet older man asked, "Who gave Linda emergency vote power?" Crickets. Turns out she hadn't followed protocol. No signatures, no board approval, no clearance from the president. Still on vacation, Leah VYing me as VP. All eyes hit me. I stood slow and smug and dropped my folder. I've got 20 some complaints about Linda's power abuse, plus VY Deo of her trespassing and vandalizing my property. Let's table this and investigate her. Silence. Then chaos. Wendy flailed, Carl stammered, but someone yelled, "Motion to suspend Linda." Hands flew up majority. Linda screeched, "You can't. I am the HO." I smiled. "You're just a neighbor." She stormed out, muttering about lawsuits. The room laughed first time in years. Popsicles came out. Emma asked for another Jello pool. I kissed her head. "Soon, kiddo. We've got bigger plans." Linda didn't vanish quietly. Within a day, her lawn became a protest zone sign screaming HOA tyranny and my water, my rules. One had a kiddie pool with a red X and no Jello and glitter. She watered her Justice Garden in a sparkly hat, roses dying in protest. Then she went nuclear. City complaint noise, parking, skateboarding teens, cats on fences. She tried to cancel the 4th of July party, claiming meat smells were allergens. She was a misery machine. I stayed cool, ignored her. Unlicensed aquatic facility, letter, brushed off her illegal grass, tips. But then she flipped a duck pool at a new family's house, screaming about permits while their toddlers wailed. That was it. Time for war, but smarter. Linda's yard was too green for drought season, suspiciously lush. A neighbor's brother at City Utilities confirmed it. She'd rigged an illegal irrigation pipe. I tipped the city anonymously. Thursday, an inspector showed up. Linda answered in curlers, clutching a tomato like Evy Denke. He cited her for water theft, due law 1,500 fine, orange tag on her hose. She shrieked about defamation. He left unfazed. Glorious. The neighborhood woke up. Stories poured in, Linda hating jarring shutters, a teen's reckless shoveling, a vertigo-inducing wind spinner. The HOA with me as VP held a forum. It was roars of her bullying laid bare. We banned her from board roles forever, dismantled her irrigation, fined her due law 500 more. Her face at the notice? Priceless. She sulked, glared from windows, once fake called a lawyer while pacing. I waved. She flipped me off. I grinned. My yard thrived, cookies, gnomes, a Jello revolutionary shirt from neighbors. Our block felt alive, bonded by Sir vying her. But I knew Linda wasn't gone. She'd wait. So exactly 1 year after she drained Emma's pool, I stood in my backyard with a hose and 100 pounds of strawberry Jello mix. Jello Day was now tradition, bigger, stickier. Flyers went out, RSVPs flooded, parents volunteered. Emma, in a unicorn swimsuit and cape, held a megaphone. "Full flavor deployment," she declared. I saluted, slicing open the first box. We upgraded a bigger pool, propane burners, color-coded coolers, red, pink, mystery berry, from Mike's soda mishap. Neighbors hauled chairs, tarps, fences. By noon the Jello set, shimmering like candy. Kids dove in belly flops, marshmallow sinks. A dad paddled a raft with a pool noodle. Mike, in lifeguard sash, blew his kazoo. The VYB was electric. Neighbors swapped recipes, clean splashes, laughed. Even the reckless teen spun jiggle anthems. We glanced at Linda's house. She peeked through blinds. She yelled, "Monsters!" A kid shouted, "You're jealous!" Laughter roared. Then a Jello company van rolled up, swag for our VY pool. Shirts, towels, a mini pool. Community joy activation, they called it. I high-fived Emma, waving a towel like a flag. As dusk fell, the HOA president, back from vacation, saw the pool and laughed. "Over cherry Jello," he said, "this needs to be official." The HOA voted Jello Day annual, budgeted supplies, themed next year's Tropical Jiggle Bash. Linda's protest was framed as clubhouse art. On my porch, with Emma whispering, "Best day ever," I realized. Linda fought with rules, but we won with joy. She drained a pool. We drowned her relevance in gelatin.